Good afternoon, everyone. It is 4 o'clock ET on Tuesday, and I am Hank Phillippi Ryan, and you have found us at A Mighty Blaze on A Mighty Mystery, and we are so thrilled that you are here with us today. It's going to be a crazy day here on A Mighty Mystery because I think for the first time on A Mighty Mystery, we have had, or they have had, some technical difficulties with our guest who was supposed to be here today. I mean, these days, what isn't there a technical difficulty with? So you and I will just be chatting today just a little bit. I see Sherry and I see Anissa, and I am so pleased to see you all here today joining us for this crazy last minute technical difficulty edition of A Mighty Mystery on A Mighty Blaze. It is a mystery what happened. It is a mystery what is happening in all of our lives. So I just wanted to come on and say hello to you all. Hello, Carla. And to welcome you all and find a little bit about what you're reading and what you're doing this holiday week. I need to tell you that this week we were going to talk with the fabulous mega New York Times bestseller, Ted Bell, whose new book, SEA HAWKE, is out right now. It is the 12th Alex Hawke mystery. And if you are still looking for holiday gifts for that hard to buy person, someone who might love Horatio Hornblower and Master and Commander and Nelson DeMille, all those wonderful adventure stories. James Patterson says Ted Bell is Alex Hawke, let's put it this way. Alex Hawke is the new James Bond. This is the 12th Alex Hawke spy thriller. And if anyone, as I said, loves Master and Commander and Horatio Hornblower, Patrick O'Brien, or E.M. Forster, all those wonderful adventures with a little Robert Ludlum and James Bond mixed in, that is what you will get with these Ted Bell books, the SEA HAWKE mysteries. And you know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read you Shades of First Chapter fun. We're going to have a little first paragraph fun. Here's Sherry saying, I love James Bond. And Nancy says, hello. Yeah, it is crazy here today on A Mighty Mystery, on A Mighty Blaze. For the first time ever, there have been technical difficulties on the author's end, and he is sorry that he cannot join us today. But we will invite the fabulous mega New York Times bestseller Ted Bell back to come talk with us about Lord Alex Hawke and his SEA HAWKE adventures. But do let me read you the first paragraph of this book, and you will see how much fun it is. Anissa is saying, I love when you read. Well, thank you. That's so very sweet of you. I'll put my glasses on so I can read this to you. Here is the prologue, a little bit of the prologue from Mayfair, London, present day. Lord Alexander Hawke, a tall and rather attractive chap in his mid-30s, a bit of a dandy, was on this particular evening even somewhat resplendent in his regal purple Chinese silk pajamas, his bare feet clad in Chinese red leather slippers. Lord Hawke, or simply call him Alex, as he vastly preferred not to be addressed by his title, was alone at last. You were most likely to find him in the library of his comfortable 200-year-old gated manse in the heart of London's Mayfair. He looked about this gracious high-ceilinged room, his eyes alighting on treasured mementos from the course of his rather dramatic life, and naturally the splendid portrait of his late beloved mother, Catherine, known as Kitty Hawke. He was a bit surprised to suddenly find himself more content than any man had a right to be. And what was his lordship's plan for the evening stretching out ahead? That remained to be seen. Isn't that so great? I don't want to read any more because I'm not quite sure I'm allowed to read any more than that without the publisher's permission. And this was just a spur of the moment thing. But you can see how you can be drawn right into this adventure. It is swashbuckling. It is interesting. I heard Ted Bell talk recently about how he started writing these books. And it was because he wanted his daughter to read Treasure Island when she was 12 or so. And he realized that she wouldn't love it. She wouldn't get it. She wouldn't understand the language. She wouldn't understand the adventure. She wouldn't be into it the same way that he was when he was 12 years old. So he started writing a series for her, an adventure series for her. And you can look it up. It's called Nick of Time. And then he decided to write, here's a little bit of publishing world scoop. He is a great pal, once a competitor in the advertising world, but a great pal of James Patterson. And they play golf together now. And you know how much I love James Patterson. He is my favorite. And so they were competitors in the advertising world. But once they got into knowing each other and hanging out and playing golf, I think Ted Bell had retired, playing golf together, and they realized they were pals. They were pals. And then Ted Bell tells the story about how he saw a bus go by that said, with a billboard, with a placard on the bus that said, "Kiss the Girls" by James Patterson. And he thought, I could do that. I could do that. So he took a character from his Nick of Time series, Alex Hawke, and made him into Lord Alex Hawke, a British naval hero. And this is the 12th of the book. Almost all of them have been New York Times bestsellers. So again, if you are buying a book for someone who loves any kind of book about the sea and sailing and spies and adventure and just rip-roaring, swashbuckling, fun to read entertainment, that is the Sea Hawke series by Ted Bell. So it's a lot of fun. Hi, Gail. Happy holidays to you too. And as I said, if you've just joined us, we were hoping to have Ted Bell today, but there were some technical difficulties on his end. And as the last minute, I just wanted to come on and welcome you to A Mighty Blaze. Thank you too for welcoming me to A Mighty Mystery. I can't remember now. I think I started in August. You were all here with me at the time, and we've interviewed so many wonderful people. Remember, Lisa Jewell was here, and Wiley Cash was here, and Anthony Horowitz was here. And last week we had Hannah Morrissey with Hello Transcriber. We've had some wonderful books. Sherry is asking, do they need to be read as a series in order? And that is a great question. I wonder what Ted would say, but I would say, just my humble opinion, I would say no. I would say that these are great adventures to read in any order. So you can give someone this one, book 12, and then they can go back and have the fun of starting at the beginning of book 1. It's interesting when you think about a series, because a wise author will make their books easily readable, whether you've read the other books in the series or not. And indeed, when you do write a series, a book in a series, there is a whole story arc that has to have a beginning and middle and an end of the story in the book. So if you want to meet Lord Alex Hawke and all of his friends, I mean, I'm not even going to tell you all the other characters who are in this book. Some of them you have heard of, and you will be surprised to meet them and see them behind closed doors. More I cannot say. It's interesting too, because I was going to ask Ted Bell about being a Brit. He's not, he's from the US, but this book is so seamlessly, hilariously British, and it must have been really fun for him and kind of difficult for him to make this feel so effortlessly authentic, which indeed it does. And his dialogue is amazing. So I can't wait for you to meet him. He'll come back at some point when the technical difficulties are over to talk more. We will talk more with Ted Bell and Sea Hawke. Anicia is saying, I've so enjoyed your chats with authors. That it's an interesting topic that you bring up, those chats with authors. I do a lot of research before I interview people, and of course I read their books, and it makes a huge difference. I've learned so much about the authors who we have talked to. And let me show you here, because you're here today, I'm going to reach over into my bookshelf and show you some of the books that are coming up for next year. Do you want to know this? It's a surprise, but I'll show you. Let me just see. I'm leaning over here to the bookshelf. I'm closing my eyes, seeing what we get. You are all going to just go crazy. Alifair Burke. We will talk to Alifair Burke about Find Me. Can't wait for that in January. Look at this. Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen, the golden couple. They are, remember the book, The Wife Between Us, that just blew the literary world apart? They are just authentically wonderful. So we will have the brilliant, brilliant Alafair Burke, who is just unstoppably good, and Sarah Pekkanen and Greer Hendricks. Their new psychological domestic suspense is out. Look at that, A Gold Rose. Want to see a little bit more? Do you want to see two more? Yes? Two more? Want to see two more? Okay. How about this? The Department of Rare Books and Special Collections by Eva Jersik. That is a really amazing book. Carla's saying you've got some great interviews coming up. Can't wait. This says, what holds more secrets in the library? The ancient books shelved in the stacks or the people who preserve them? The Department of Rare Books and Special Collections. Doesn't that look fascinating? And I'll show you one more because that's the one I pulled out. This is so, Anissa's saying, can't wait. Yeah, I can't either. Because I get, we all get to talk to these people. You get to talk to these authors and find out what's behind the books and how they did it and how they put them together. This is one that you're also going to be hearing about. This is crazy original. And it is written in, I'll show you. I'll see if I can show you this. It is written in emails. And it is, look at that. Isn't that amazing? Look at that. And it is so revealing to read a book where the story sort of unfolds, talk about point of view, talk about suspense. It is sensationally good. So those are just 4 of the books that we'll be bringing to you over the next year, every Tuesday at 4 p.m. ET here on A Mighty Blaze. So before we close, let me show you. Next Tuesday at 4 p.m. ET, we look at this book. This book arrived in an evidence bag. How cool is that? You know that a lot of when a publisher is really excited about a book, they have a special box or bag or presentation that they send to reviewers and interviewers. And I love this one. Came in an evidence bag. Anissa's saying, the chats make the reading experience much deeper. I feel a deeper connection to the books when I hear the authors speak about them. Yeah, I so agree with you, Anissa. When we talked to Hannah Morrissey, for instance, and we knew she wrote the book Hello Transcriber about a police transcriber, and that's cool. But how much cooler was it to know that she had also been a police transcriber? So you get the real inside story of what these authors' lives are like and how they write and how they feel, and which are the ones who have fun and which are the ones for whom it's a slog all the way through. So I love it. I love it too. It's quite a privilege. And here at A Mighty Blaze, and Mighty Blaze, that was started 2 years ago now by Jenna Blum and Caroline Levitt to get us through the pandemic and to get us through knowing about books and learning about new books and discoverability. And that is why I'm here, to bring you all the mysteries and thrillers that you are going to be reading and loving and talking about over the next years. Oh yes, Anissa is saying that Hannah Morrissey's husband is a policeman. Yeah, so talk about in-house counsel. That's absolutely great to have. Like my husband, Jonathan, is a lawyer, criminal defense attorney. And that's very lovely when I have a legal question for my books. I can go ask him. So here's the book that arrived in an evidence bag with, on the other side, says Chain of Custody. And the Chain of Custody, and it has a case number. and you can read it. Look a little bit here. 20 years later by I'm not holding it up very well. Let's look at it together. 20 years later by Charlie Donnelly. And it says on the back, I'm going to read this to you. It says on the back, 20 years later, accused of a brutal murder, Victoria Ford made a final chilling call from the North Tower on the morning of 9/11. 20 years ago, no one listened. Today, you will. Okay, not today, but next Tuesday at 4 p.m. ET, we will be talking to Charlie Donnelly, And we will be looking forward to 1 week later when we will talk about 20 years later. So thank you all for being with us today on this crazy, wonderful day. And I just didn't want to let it go by. No matter what happened, I didn't want to let it go by without talking with you and chatting with you and sharing with you and being with you and wishing you the best and safest of holiday seasons. So I'm so delighted to see you all, Carla and Anissa and Sherry. And Hannah is here today. And we are so delighted that you have all come to join us on the day that we had the technical difficulties. And what better way to make that be wonderful than to just chat anyway. So don't forget, look for Ted Bell's book, SEA HAWKE. And we will invite him back as soon as we can get him here. And join us next week to see what about the book that came inside the evidence bag. What is the evidence of 20 years later? So you all stay safe, keep reading, happiest of holidays, and we will see you right here next Tuesday at 4.